So, you're moving to a new home. It's supposed to be this super exciting time, right? But let's be real, the actual process can be a total logistical nightmare. Well, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest moving headaches and talk about a surprisingly simple solution: temporary storage. Let's jump right in.
Okay, let's start with a scenario that, if you're planning a move, might feel a little too real. You've got to be out of your old place by the 31st, but you can't get the keys to your new home until the 3rd. Suddenly, you and every single thing you own are kind of stuck in limbo. So, what do? If you're nodding along to this, the good news is you are definitely not alone. This is a super common hiccup in today's busy housing market. But don't stress. There is a really smart way to handle it. We're about to show you how you can turn this potential moving crisis into a smooth, totally manageable process. All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to unpack what we call the moving gap. Then we'll introduce the solution, we'll get into the specific times you might need it, help you figure out the right option, and then wrap up with some pro packing tips. By the end, you're going to feel a whole lot more confident about your move. First up, let's really define the core problem here. We're calling it the moving gap. That super stressful window of time that can pop up in even the best laid plans, all because your move out and move in dates just don't perfectly align. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's that classic conflict. On one hand, you've got all the excitement of starting a new chapter, but on the other, you have the messy, complicated reality of trying to get everything you own from point A to point B without a single problem. So how do you fix this whole timing issue? It's actually pretty simple. You build a little bridge over that gap. Let's take a look at how temporary storage can give you that breathing room you desperately need. And here it is, temporary storage. Now, we're not talking about stashing your stuff away for years. This is specifically designed to be a flexible, short-term holding space for your things. It gives you security and convenience right when you need it most, smack in the middle of a transition. Now, what's really important to get here is the difference in purpose. It's all about your intention. Temporary storage is all about flexibility and easy access for things you're going to use again pretty soon. Long-term storage? That's a whole different beast. That's for safekeeping items you won't need for, well, a long time. Okay, so we've established temporary storage is a fantastic fix for that classic moving gap, but what are some of the other situations where it can be an absolute lifesaver? Let's dive into the key scenarios. The most obvious need comes from these simple and frankly very common scheduling conflicts. A closing date gets bumped, a seller asks for a few more days, or those quick renovations suddenly hit a snag. Any one of these can throw your whole move into chaos, and having a place to put your things is an instant safety net. And this is brilliant because it shows it's not just about delays. Storage can be a really strategic tool for managing all their big life events. Downsizing, it gives you time to sort through things without cramming them into your new, smaller space. Renovating, you can get your nice furniture out of the way of all that dust and damage. It's all about creating some much-needed breathing room. Okay, so let's say you're sold on the idea. Great. But there are a few different options out there. So how do you pick the right one? Let's break down the 3 main types of storage and help you find the perfect fit. This little chart is super helpful because it really aligns the options with what you need. If you want to pop in and grab things whenever and you're keeping an eye on the budget, traditional self-storage is probably your best bet. If you hate the idea of loading and unloading multiple times, a portable unit that comes to you is perfect. And hey, if you just want someone else to handle everything, full-service storage is the way to go. No matter which type you pick, these are the non-negotiables you should look for. You want 24/7 surveillance, gated access, and good lighting. That's just basic security. And seriously, pay attention to climate control. If you've got things like wooden furniture, electronics, or artwork, extreme temperatures and humidity can do real damage. It's worth it. Okay, now for the fun part. Packing? All right, maybe it's not that fun, but doing it right is absolutely crucial for protecting your stuff. Let's go through some pro tips to make sure everything comes out of storage looking exactly like it did when it went in. Honestly, following these simple steps makes a massive difference. Using same-sized boxes isn't just about looking neat, it makes stacking way safer and more stable. Taking apart that big bed frame will save you a ton of space. And that little aisle you leave for yourself, trust me, you will be so glad you did that when you suddenly need a box from the very back of the unit. So the key takeaway here is to be strategic. Just think, what can I absolutely not live without for a few weeks or maybe a month?
Your important documents, medications, daily essentials, keep all of that with you. Everything else, the bulky furniture, the holiday decorations, the sentimental stuff, those are perfect candidates for temporary storage.
And when you boil it all down, that's really what this is all about. Using temporary storage isn't just some last-minute backup plan. It's a proactive strategy. It gives you control, it gives you flexibility, and most importantly, it gives you peace of mind during what can be one of the most chaotic times in life. So there you have it. Temporary storage is so much more than a box to put your stuff in. It's a strategic tool that can turn a logistical nightmare into a smooth, totally manageable transition. Which leaves us with one final thought for you to consider for your own moving journey. Could temporary storage be your secret weapon?